I came back to Australia in the late 60s. I'd been working and trained as an actor in the United States, but then had got into management sort of almost by mistake. Then when I thought it was time to go out to pasture, I thought they'd let me, and then the state government said, would you be chairman of the festival? So I said, like a shot, yes, because I love the arts, I love being around the arts. Half of my friends are in the arts. It's a wonderful world full of change and colour and things I care about. So here I am. As president of the festival, I'm essentially chairman of the board of directors that has responsibility for the management of the festival. We don't tell the artistic director what shows he likes. That's his job. While I never say, look, you must do this show or that show, I will say, why don't we do some more shows from Asia? Have you got a kids show in the next program? Who's coming in the classical music field? I act as and the board generally, as a sort of sounding board. About 2 years ago, my wife and I were in China at a small theatre upstairs in a cinema complex. We went to see a contemporary Chinese drama called Rhinoceros in Love, which was a very intriguing title in itself. And the theatre was packed with about 600 young Chinese. I mean, I was the geriatric in the audience. They were all young, they were very vocal, they were excited by it. And my Chinese, I have a little bit, but I call it advanced kindergarten Mandarin. So I couldn't understand enough of it. But clearly the Chinese audience indicated that this was something that was really hot. My wife, of course, understood it all, and she said this would be a great show for the festival. Then later that year, the Ministry of Culture invited me to bring a delegation of senior Australian performing arts managers to China. We all saw Rhinoceros again. Brett loved it. He said, I've never seen a contemporary drama that talks about life in China. And the reason it's so popular with the young people is because it is talking about love and sex and relationships and all these things which they've not been allowed to talk about in previous generations, partly because the Chinese are inherently modest, partly because the communist government has had a much more restrictive view of these things, and particularly in the Cultural Revolution generation, that was sort of taboo. But now you've got these young people talking overtly about it, and the young audience is saying, yay, that's fantastic. And there's a sense of great liberation in seeing it. All major Australian capital cities now have their own festival. They all have very different characteristics, but they all are important in the life of the city because they give you a concentrated experience. They allow people to see some of the very best contemporary work from around the world that they wouldn't otherwise have access to. And I think it's important that it is work that they wouldn't otherwise see. I hope in the future that we will be able to change to a slightly warmer period of the year because then we'll do much more of that outdoor programming, more free programming for the public in the parks and in the streets that brings people together in a sense of celebration. And that's what festivals originally were in medieval times and things, where people come together to celebrate, to let their hair down after the harvest or for spring after a cold, long winter. And that sense of the community coming together is very important.